The Oklahoma City Thunder as a franchise have historically had amazing luck when it comes to bringing in young talent and grooming them into elite stars in this league. Starting with Kevin Durant and then eventually Russell Westbrook and James Harden as well. The team drafted 3 separate players with elite potential, and then all 3 of those players went on to eventually win at least one MVP award. Now, on the other end though, they failed to ever win a championship despite having so much young talent, and with the team having traded away Russell Westbrook this summer, it officially marks a shift in the team's focus to starting over, and they may have already found their next young gem with elite potential. For today's video, we're going to be talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his blazing hot start to the season this year, and why down the line he could legitimately become one of the best players in the league. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The NBA season is barely a week old, yet there are a ton of notable takeaways that we've already seen, and easily, without a doubt, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of them. 2 years ago, Shai was selected 11th overall in the 2018 NBA draft and began his career with the Los Angeles Clippers. In his rookie season last year with them, he had a very strong, well-balanced season where he played a strong role in the team's playoff run. To the common or casual viewer, his season last year may not have been very eye-popping or attention-grabbing, but if we look deeper into everything he did for the Clippers last year, then we can start to get a pretty good understanding of why the Thunder were so excited to bring him in. SGA averaged 10.8 points, 3.3 assists, and 2.8 rebounds per game last year, while shooting the ball 47.6% from the field and 36.7% from 3, which, as I said earlier, doesn't exactly stand out very much. But the Clippers last season featured several talented, experienced veteran players with much larger roles than him, so as a rookie, he was never really relied upon to have to do much, and instead, just complemented the strengths of those other guys exceptionally. The Clippers essentially had 2 different teams last year as well, because by the trade deadline, Tobias Harris, Avery Bradley, and Marcin Gortat were all gone, and the latter of the 2 of that bunch had been having pretty poor seasons for them at that point. Now, looking at the most common lineups that SGA featured in for them, out of the 9 lineups he appeared in most, 6 of them had positive net ratings and 3 had negative, but in the 3 negative ones, he was playing alongside either Avery Bradley or Marcin Gortat or both, and those 2 guys throughout the season continuously trended towards having negative impact on the team in general, so it's fair to say that they were weighing SGA down in those lineups, especially because in the other 6 positive lineups, neither of those 2 players appear. On an experienced playoff team filled with veterans contributing at a high level, rookie SGA was essentially the glue holding everyone together, which is a role typically taken up by someone with more experience and production instead of a 20-year-old, which is a big tip of the cap to Alexander. He was definitely capable of getting baskets if needed, did a phenomenal job as more of a secondary playmaker alongside Lou Williams, and his defense was probably his best trait from day one. To anyone who watched the Clippers on a regular basis last season, which I probably realize isn't many people outside of the Los Angeles area, it was very clear that with a bigger role, Shai would be able to do some serious damage. So when it was announced that he would be going to the Thunder to seemingly lead their rebuild, Thunder fans actually had something to root for after seeing their longtime franchise player Russell Westbrook go to Houston. Throughout the entirety of the summer, there had been whispers that Shai would be a prime candidate to break out in a big way, and so far this season, he's been backing those claims up and more. In the season opener against the Jazz, he put up 26 points on 10 of 23 shooting, making 3 of his 7 3-point attempts. In the Thunder's second game of the season against the Wizards, he scored 28 points on 10 of 17 shooting, while making 2 of his 4 3-point attempts. In the third game, he scored 19 points in a win over the Golden State Warriors, while shooting 8 of 14 and 1 for 5 from deep. Then finally, in the team's team's 4th game so far, he once again topped 20 points with 22, while shooting 8 of 21 and 2 of 6 from deep. His volume has more than doubled pretty much across the board, and yet his efficiency has not really changed at all from last year, shooting 48% from the field and 36% from 3. The Thunder do still have Chris Paul, so Alexander's assist numbers haven't really seen much of a bump, but as a go-to scorer, he's been putting his full skill set on display and playing as free and aggressive as ever. Getting into what makes him a successful scorer now, let's take a closer look. When you watch him play, he never really blows by his defender, nor does he jump out the gym when attacking the basket, so it might lead one to think that he's not necessarily the most athletic player, but one of the most underrated aspects of athleticism is balance, and SGA's balance is already top-notch. Whether he's pulling up for a shot off the dribble or driving to the basket, the thing you'll notice most about him is that he's never out of control, and he doesn't take shots off balance. He almost plays in slow motion to a degree, and while his shot release is on the slower end, he has started to master the ability to both create enough space to get the shot off and release the ball high enough, so the defender's contests don't really affect him. When it comes to driving to the basket, this is where you see his full arsenal of moves on display, because while I said earlier that he doesn't really rely on speed to get to the basket, he's unbelievably crafty in the paint. One of his biggest go-to moves is his floater, and he has tremendous touch to float it up gently onto the rim over the contesting defenders. Another thing that helps him in a big way when attacking the basket is his length, because not only does he stand at 6'6", but he also has a 7-foot wingspan, so he uses those long arms to reach through and around defenders when finishing at the rim. The best part of his game that I haven't even discussed yet is his defense, because that's the end of the floor that made him the prospect he was. As I just said, he has great height and length for a guard and wing defender, and what's most impressive of all about him is his IQ on defense, especially for a player so young. It takes most guys years to fully understand how to play good team defense in the NBA, yet one of Shai's biggest strengths is just how well he knows when and where to rotate. On-ball defense tends to get all the attention when people discuss how good of a defender a player is, but what a player does off the ball is what takes a team's defense from good to great. Not everyone is going to be able to keep their man in front of them on every play, so if you can rely on your teammates to help you out and rotate properly when they do get by you, it goes a long way, and Shai very rarely makes mistakes in this area. This isn't to say that Shai isn't also a good on-ball defender too, because he absolutely is, but what's going to make him a future all-defense candidate is his complete performance on that end. So, just how good can Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be? Well, according to every teammate he's played with and coach that has had him, everyone seems to be over the moon about this kid. He's still only 21 years of age and is already making a big impact in his second season. Sure, calling him a potential MVP candidate down the line is probably pretty bold and unrealistic, but who knows? Trae Young and Luka Doncic are guards from the 2018 draft that everyone has already crowned as future stars, and rightfully so. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if SGA joins that tier of players with them when they all hit their primes. He has all the makings of a solid two-way stud, and while the Russell Westbrook era didn't end the way Thunder fans wanted it to, they now have a new young rising star leading the new era. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below just how good you think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will become. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.